Okay, so in this video, we're going to take a little look and think about how we can use photography and build up that gallery so we've got that portfolio of standards in our school. So here you can see I'm heading out to do my learning walk, and as I head into the classroom, so as I'm going to see Ernest here, I'm going to click, and in here I'm going to populate our learning walk. I'm going to add my thoughts, my views, a couple of sentences really there to be able to evaluate and also to provide some feedback to. If we want to create a next step, obviously we can do that. Check the box and that will appear as a priority in your workflow. You can check a little button there and it will just list all of the next steps that you've identified. So we're going to look at attitudes to learning, which is basically behavior, teaching, learning, and outcomes. But what we're going to do is focus really on being in the classroom and taking photos. So as we bring up the prompt and you start to use the camera, we can really, with our team, start to capture the best practice at the same time. So if we click into here and click toggle camera and capture, it will take the picture that you want to do, obviously. In here, important to think about how you tag this. So while you're in the classroom, I would always tag by subject. I would always tag by year group. I would always tag by area of study. Not the most exciting. I think things have changed since then. And also any additional things you want to focus on, I would begin by capturing the expected standard. And what that means is obviously we can really start to, as we begin to use Nautilus, is we can take pictures of the expected standard in science, English, maths, whatever it might be, across all of the different areas of study, and build up in the gallery then a portfolio. And when we use the search tool, we're going to be able to see and key in science expected standard. We'll be able to see it across cohorts, from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 through the cohorts. So really good for being able to visually see the progression in learning throughout those subject areas. And also the other two things that I would add to this, if they are relevant, is send. If you've got people with send, and also people premium, so either or both. So those tags will give you a really good solid base for building up that portfolio, and we'll take a look at the gallery in a minute. In here, a little bit of commentary to say what we like about it, so that when people see that image, they're going to be able to see the specifics as to what you've identified as being, some good learning taking place. So we take our pictures and we pop those into the system. Take 1, 2, 3 photos as you visit each classroom and start to build that portfolio. We'll take a little look at the gallery in a moment. Okay, so here we are in the gallery, and you can see the button up there. So again, priority users, leadership users can use this. It's communal, which means that they can come in and they can start, all of your staff, to see what standards look like in the year group, across the cohort, above, below, and start to see those expectations nice and clearly. So a great place to be able to quality assure, to provide some inspiration, and to help staff really to know, to raise awareness as to what standards look like in school, and raise the expectation. So what we can do then is obviously start to filter by subject. So if we want to come into here and we want to see what the science looks like, we can use that to quality assure. Governors can use it, and we've got some good practical learning taking place as well, as you can see here. So once we start then to really delve into the archive here, we'll start to see some really good examples right from early years through the year groups and across the cohorts, and start to get a good idea as to what things look like for all pupils, because obviously not forgetting that we've tagged them with those additional tags too. So if we want to come into here and we want to see what maths looks like for pupils with SEND, we can then add those additional tags, and we can capture all of this kind of work, which is really rich and great, where pupils may not show up in tests and things like that. So obviously it's really important to be able to capture that, put it into the system as well. We'd also suggest starting to capture things, particularly in the summer term, because that's the time when we get the some really rich outcomes, but we tend to send the books home. So instead of sending the books home, we can take a look at some of the emergent writing that's taking place in school and really start to raise awareness. And as you can see there, we've got a great portfolio overseeing things. If we want to moderate with a little bit more detail, you can see that we've got some moderation going on here. We can do that. Obviously, we could do that through book studies. We can invite a colleague in, two people working together, and that might only take sort of 30 minutes. So the gallery is a really useful place for lots of different reasons. If we just wanted to come into here and we wanted to look, for example, at a pupil premium, our governors could log in at home and they will be able to see what standards look like for those children, any of our vulnerable groups, just by keying that in without actually getting into the classroom. So a good, efficient way of getting a really good knowledge base. The other thing that we've just added very quickly is that we can just add pictures directly. So there's a little button there, and if we just want to point and shoot and upload things into the system, we don't have to be doing a learning walk or a book study. We can just populate that gallery. And that's a great way to quality assure. So if I was to say to the staff next week, I'd like you all to take a picture in science or 3 pictures for science, and let the staff, after they've taught a good lesson, submit a picture that shows the expected standard in science and tag it again with year groups, areas, and so on in that same way. But also being able to take a couple of practical shots. That means my science lead can come in at the end of the week, key in science, and then we'll be able to see all of those things submitted. So a great way to work through those school priorities that you may have. And that's how we can really start to use photos to quality assure, to raise awareness, but most importantly, to raise standards in school.